Yemen's Houthi rebels have told China and Russia that their ships can pass through the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea safely. The Houthis have been attacking vessels off the Yemeni coast since November. The US and the UK have launched airstrikes on Houthi targets in retaliation. Several countries have deployed their naval forces to protect shipping in the trade route. Earlier this month, 3 crew members were killed when their ship was hit in a Houthi strike. Well, joining me now is Hans-Jakob Schindler. He is the Senior Director at the Center Extremism Project in Berlin. It's good to have you with us here at DW News. So how have China and Russia managed to negotiate a deal with the Houthis while Western powers still appear to be in open conflict with the group?
Well, very clearly and obviously, Iran plays a major role in here. Iran is a major sponsor of the Houthis. It is also very close to China and Russia, increasingly so over the last couple of years because of Western pressure. And so my best guess, without being involved in these negotiations, is that they went through the Iranian route. Both countries, of course, have an inherent interest to keep the shipping routes open, Russia to get energy out, and China to get its merchandise into Europe.
And how do the Houthis benefit from this arrangement?
Well, the promise, according to media reports, is, of course, that China and Russia agreed to politically support the Houthi movement, whatever that means. Potentially, it means that the attempts to ramp up pressure via United Nations Security Council sanctions will be slowed down by both these countries, who are permanent members of the Security Council and therefore can veto any resolution.
And where does this leave the US and other Western powers? We have seen attacks that they claim to have degraded the Houthis' ability to carry out such incidents, for example, and such strikes. But are we seeing any indication of that degradation?
Well, certainly there were successful attacks, but even the US admits that they were surprised at the extent of the Houthi arsenal. And of course, Iran continues to resupply them. So this new agreement, if it is an agreement that the Houthis are going to keep, they accidentally, although they had announced they wouldn't, in the past targeted Russian and Chinese ships. So maybe the Iranians helping them more now to not do that anymore. But it puts a bit more pressure on the US and the Europeans really on to either increase the pressure on Iran to make the Houthis stop or to continue its military operations, because the one hope, of course, was also that China, who has an inherent interest that this shipping route is open because most of its merchandise and materials that it exports to Europe goes via that shipping route, is now apparently no longer having a problem.
So in terms of big picture, we've seen multiple strikes in the last few months. How much of an impact have these attacks been on trade and supply routes so far?
Very significantly. So there is a drop over 40% of traffic through the Suez Canal so far. We have more than a doubling of container prices since the attack started in earnest a couple of months ago. And of course, we have a massive increase in shipping insurance for any vessels that goes through the Red Sea. That means a lot. The majority of global shipping companies are routing now ships that go from in Europe around the African route, which is at least 10 days longer travel time, which means longer transport routes and more transport costs.
That's Hans-Jakob Schindler. Thank you very much indeed for your time and analysis.